I'm cold. We've been refusing to turn the heat on,
Mm,
holding out as long as possible.
it's getting to that point.
I know we got Amish made space heater, like the fake fireplace.
Hmm.
So like we've just been doing that and blankets, sweatshirts, stuff like that. But anywho, what are we even talking about today? I don't
Mood
know. It's
and tone.
mood and tone. So our mood is somber and yeah,
Yep.
okay.
We had parent-teacher conferences this week,
Hmm.
which were, a lot.
Oh, lots of fun. I can't imagine. That sounds like horrible.
No, I mean, they're good and they're helpful and they're necessary, but they just make long days.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Which is why we're not recording on our usual day. We're recording on another day.
Yep. That was your
Hmm.
niece saying hi. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, scoot.
Hi. Get out of here.
Hello, go away.
Welcome to Words Are Hard, a writing and editing podcast. I'm your host, Ramsay, the extrovert in charge of keeping the conversation flowing.
And I'm your other host, Rachel, editor, indie author, and English teacher.
And I think we need to add and podcastier, podcaster.
Podcastier?
I don't know. It sounded fancy. Podcastier. Is that what is it? Podcaster. So
Yeah.
editor, indie author, English teacher, and podcaster.
I mean, I could have a whole big list of things there, but three is a
Well,
good, bam, bam, bam.
yeah, we'll go for it.
You can throw in a new qualifier every week.
There we go. I like that. All right. Today's episode is sponsored by DD Photography. Dawn Dunbar, DD Photography. Thank you again for sponsoring this. Make sure you check her out at dawndunbarphotography.com, DAWNDUNBAR photography.com. Send her an email, dawndunbar40 at gmail.com. She specializes in family senior photos, good stuff like that. She does wonderful photos of vintage cars. She's been doing some car shows. So I don't know, maybe if you got a vintage car, hit her up. She can take some cool photos of it. But she does operate in a 50-mile radius from Merrill or central Wisconsin. So if you are within those 50 miles, even if you're not, shoot her a email, connect with her, check her out, and I'm sure you guys
Although
can
the
do good stuff.
the few listeners that we have in Russia and Asia and Canada, she
Yeah,
may
I don't
not
think
be able to
it's
help you.
right. So if you are from Russia, Asia, or Canada, hey there.
Thanks for
Well,
listening,
yeah, cool. I don't know how to say hi in Russian or Asia.
Canadian.
Ca Canada is hey. Oh, hey there.
Moving
I'm
on. What's
sorry.
your fun fact?
Today's fun fact. Did you know Shakespeare was an actor as well as a playwright? I did not know this. I didn't know he acted.
I mean,
Often portrayed in his own plays. Or performed, sorry, often performed in his own plays, played several roles, including the ghost of Hamlet's father in Hamlet, King Duncan in Macbeth, and possibly King Henry in Henry the Fourth.
that's cool. I,
Yeah.
I'm an
I'm,
English teacher. We talk about Shakespeare a lot.
all right, fair enough. What the heck else do I have to do a fun fact about setting with, setting a scene with mood and tone, than Shakespeare, who set lots of scenes and moods and tones.
I see where your brain was going. I'm good
That's a
with it.
stretch. I'm gonna take it.
Uh,
So with that, let's move on to our main topic again. We're talking about setting a scene with mood and tone. So go ahead, take it away.
I don't have a lot to talk about with this topic. They're kind of, once you define the terms, it's kind of
Mhm.
just, yeah, right, this is what they are and what you do with them.
Okay.
But tone and mood can be easy to confuse, to flip-flop them,
Sure.
because they are super similar. Tone refers to the attitude that the narrator takes when they're describing things or noticing things.
Okay.
And then refers to the feelings that the reader gets or picks up on. So
Okay.
tone is character, narrator, mood
Mhm.
is reader.
Reader. Okay. So what would an example of tone be?
So if I have a character walking into a room and
Mm-hmm.
noticing things about the room, if I had my character describe the room as being, say it's a bookstore,
Mm-hmm.
and they walk in and they say, "Oh, it's warm and the shelves are full and there's a purring cat on a large comfy chair and I'm walking through and it smells like cinnamon." Like those are, what kind of mood do you get from that?
Okay. Comfort and coziness and, nostalgia, maybe all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so then if I had that same character walk into that same bookstore and say the shelves are overflowing and close, and my nose is itching because of the cat that keeps rubbing between my legs and won't leave me alone. Now, what kind of mood do you have?
Okay. Maybe some anxiety and stuff like that.
Right. So the tone affects the mood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a really great way to show not just the setting because you're going to use that to describe, the place you're in, but also to show characterization, especially from your narrator, who's going to take a certain attitude about whatever it is that they're describing or doing.
Okay. So when, man, there seems like there's so many different ways to set tones.
Hmm.
And you have to be pretty conscientious about how you want the reader to interpret the mood.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
And this is a really great tool
mhm.
to get some of that information across to your reader through subtext without having to come out and say, so and so is a very anxious person. So and
Mhm.
so, you describe the setting that way. You use their tone to get that information across so that the reader can pick up on it.
And then it's just however they interpret it,
Yeah,
hopefully along with how you meant it to be.
right.
Okay.
One
Um,
more term that we
mhm.
need to talk about with these is atmosphere,
Okay.
which is basically what happens when you mix mood and tone. Atmosphere is the thing that it creates. So it's the feeling of the setting. It might be the feeling of a chapter or even the book itself when you mix the tone of the narrator or of the author with the mood that the reader picks up on.
Okay. This seems, you said there's not a lot to talk about here, but it really seems like it could be a pretty complicated piece
Well,
in your
so that's the
book.
problem with it.
Okay.
If we start talking into the tiny little elements of this, we'll be talking forever.
So I'm hearing subsequent podcasts
We could
or
definitely focus
episodes, I
more
mean.
on, how to use tone specifically or how to elicit a certain mood specifically. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe we should have a couple episodes on how to elicit a suspenseful mood or, dramatic mood. Maybe we can tie a couple of those into a few episodes and dive a little further deeper into that. If
Hmm.
you listeners want a specific mood, maybe you're struggling with developing a tone for a certain scene, reach out, let us know, drop it in a comment somewhere, and we will cover that topic.
Yep. Yeah. One other thing I wanted to say about mood and tone is
Hmm.
that, oftentimes they match, right? The reader is
Okay.
going to pick up on the attitude that the narrator has.
Yeah.
But you can also use juxtaposition. Do you know that term?
I've heard of it.
It's when you have opposites that are highlighted for emphasis. So
Hmm.
if I have a setting that I want to be, maybe not even a setting, if I have a scene where this works really well in like horror and thriller and suspense,
Okay.
where the reader can tell that something's going to happen and you can feel that dread and that anticipation building while the characters are, at a slumber party and having fun,
Hmm.
or they get a mysterious letter and they want to blow it off as coincidence, but the reader, that something's going on.
Hmm.
That's a way that you can have the mood and the tone working against each other to provide a certain feeling.
Okay. So it's that written,
Yeah,
that was horrible audio there.
I'm not cutting
Okay.
that.
do just juxtapositions only work in those thriller horror type things, or
No, that was
okay,
just the first example I thought of.
okay, can you think of another one?
They, you can, it's a tool. You can use it
It's a tool.
for however you want to use it. It's, I mean, that's like asking what can you use a nail for when you're building a house? Like it's,
Okay,
use
that
it for all
versatile.
sorts of things.
Okay, all right. I'm just struggling to keep this episode more than 5 minutes.
I know I told you there's like, it's a good topic and it's something that we should talk about, but you can either talk about it for 5 minutes or talk about it for 2 weeks. And there's really no in between.
There's no in between. Okay. In your, I'm going to call them travels of reading books, what has been your most impactful mood that you've picked up on from a book?
You're asking for like a good example of mood.
Well, yeah, I guess yeah,
I don't have an answer for that. Um,
you're
part
killing
of
me
it,
here. I'm giving
well,
you all the,
part of it is readers don't necessarily, it's one of those things that the more you notice, the less impactful it is.
okay,
You
okay,
know, it should be one
yeah,
of those things that just kind of you come away with a feeling, and afterwards you're like, oh yeah, that felt really exciting, or that felt really suspenseful, or that felt really nostalgic. But if you're picking up on that while you're reading and like analyzing it while you're reading, one, you're either an English teacher, or two, you are taking an English class.
okay. And you're specifically looking for those.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's like one of those you get a new car and like, oh, I've never seen that car before. Now all of a sudden I see it everywhere.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, this should feel, when it's done well, it feels very natural and
Hmm.
very, you're not picking up on it should be subtle.
It should be subtle. Okay. Yeah, that seems like kind of a complex thing to,
It's tricky to do,
yeah.
but when it's done well, it's super effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you can make somebody cry reading your book,
Hmm.
you've done it. You've done it right.
Yep.
Wow. Just
I
yep. That's all
Yep,
you
it
got us.
is. I don't, you
Wow.
want me to
Okay.
tell you that the last book that made me cry? Because
Sure. Yeah, let's go into that.
uh the
I know there's
last
been so many.
there have been a few. The last one that made me cry, I think it was either The Book Thief or Lonesome Dove. I don't remember which one I read
Okay.
last,
I
but
cried when I saw Lonesome Dove.
yeah, I refused to watch the movie because the book
Oh
just,
God.
yeah,
Robert
I
Duvall.
can't, no, I can't watch it. I
Mm,
can't see that. I mean, I sobbed
yeah.
after reading the book. Like
And
I
I
sat there and I read the last few chapters just bawling. It
and I
was
really
not
have
good.
no idea. I'm sure the book is amazing, but in the movie when he
What, dude, don't spoil it.
well, I'm sure that's in the book.
Yeah, it is, but not
Okay,
everybody
yeah,
has
no,
read
I'm
the
just
book.
whatever. You're gonna watch the movie, you're gonna read the book, you're gonna find out. That's where I lost it.
I know. It just,
Yeah.
no,
And Robert Duvall is an amazing actor.
I know, but Call's response to that I don't know in the movie, but in the book,
Hmm.
he like carries him home on a horse and he's like traveling through and it goes through his journey to get back to Gus's home and like, mm,
I don't the movie, well, I say movie, but it was a
yeah, the
three
series,
part,
yeah.
yeah, the three-part series that was like 30 hours long.
Hmm.
They were just kind of,
I can't do it.
can't do
Because
it.
there's a
No.
sequel to the book and I can't read it because I don't even know if it's the same characters. It might even be a prequel. I don't know,
Is
but
it Comanche Moon?
I don't know.
Okay, because
I have it, but I have not read it. I have not. Mm-mm.
okay. The Comanche Moon takes place everything before.
Yeah.
I forget whatever scene they keep referencing throughout the entire movie book, whatever. Like, oh yeah, do you remember Panama or whatever? C Comanche Moon takes place during all of that.
Okay.
Um,
But that book has
that book
phenomenal
gotcha.
mood.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
it gets you.
Well,
And not
listeners,
just with the sad stuff. It's with all the suspense and anticipation with the cattle drive and like
mhm.
there's a lot going on. And yes, he was it Larry? My brain filled in Larry McCarran, and that's not right. What is it? McMurray, I think.
I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've
I
seen
don't
it.
know,
I
but
think I
he's a
watched it in high
phenomenal
school.
writer.
Yeah.
And yes, his if you're looking for how to do mood well,
Hmm.
Lonesome Dove does it.
Lonesome Dove.
Larry McMurtry.
McMurtry.
Hmm.
What a name. That's the author.
Yeah,
Okay, and you said The Book Thief?
The Book Thief. Yeah, that's
Was
another.
Did that make you cry because a book was stolen?
No, it's the narrator is Death,
Oh.
telling the story of a child during World War II
Oh dear
in
God.
yeah, so in Germany. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a re another really really good book and was made into a movie that I haven't seen because I can't. That's the only book that I have ever thrown across the room.
Oh, okay.
I was stupid and I was reading it at work when I worked in the mailroom at college,
Hmm.
and we could like when we had done all of our work and we were just manning the counter and waiting for people to show up to get their mail, we could
Hmm.
read or we could work on homework or whatever.
Hmm.
And I was close to finishing that book and I was like, okay, well, I'll have a couple hours at the mailroom. I'll finish it then. Bad life choice. Don't read a depressing book at work. I threw my book across the room and then had to go out on the loading dock so I could sit and cry. And my boss came out
Dang.
and was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's wrong?" I'm like, "It's the book. It's the book." He's like, "Are you kidding me? Go back to work." Like, I know, I'm sorry. It
Oh my God.
was bad.
Okay. Listeners, if you've had a book that you really want to recommend that, made you bawl your eyes out,
They don't have to be
or no,
sad. They can be very fun,
I
exciting
know,
books too.
I know, something that really impacted your mood. I I don't read much. I think Shane got me a little bit.
Oh, Shane's a good one. Yeah.
Shane's a good one. Yeah, that got me. When I finished that, I just kind of sat there and I'm like,
That one is more characterization than mood, but
okay,
yeah, that's a
give
good
give
one.
it. Hey, I came up with a book that I have read. You
Yeah,
give me
you read
this
it
one.
in sixth grade because it was required reading in sixth grade. Can you come up with anything
No,
that
it
is
wasn't.
less than 20 years old?
Shane wasn't required.
Yeah, it was.
I read Shane on my own in high school.
Okay, well, you were also supposed to read it in sixth grade.
Nuh-uh.
We had the same class.
Yeah, you're just old and you're remembering wrong.
Mm. I
Uh-huh.
I work at the same school where we went to school, and I have access to the same curriculum. So bite me.
Well then. Well, Shane was great.
Chain's a good book.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, and with that, let's move on to the word of the day. And what do you got?
Today's word of the day is inchoate.
Go what?
Inchoate.
What? Okay. Tell
It's
me.
an
Learn me.
it's an adjective. It means
Okay.
recently or just begun.
These words, like, why? Why not just say recently or just begun?
Because
Why does one have to throw it? And this is a purple word to me.
it's no, it's not a purple word.
It is totally a purple word. If I was going through a book and
You
say,
just admitted to not reading.
if I was going through a book and I was reading something and they said the character inchoately ate.
No, that would be an adverb,
Oh,
and it's
okay.
not an adverb. So the inchoate class,
Okay.
a class that had just begun.
The inchoate class.
Yeah, I'm using that as a subject, and I'm struggling to think of a verb that would go with it. But the the inchoate class commenced at the beginning of the semester, something like that.
That's that's dumb. I'm just gonna
No,
say it.
it's
That's
not.
dumb.
But also, if you don't read, you don't get to poke fun at vocabulary because that's how you pick it up.
This is the whole reason I'm here is to, it's ebbs and flows, balances. You love it, I diss it. That's what our listeners are craving for, Rachel.
Mm,
Yes.
they're not getting it in this episode.
Well, all right. So inchoate, what's the origins of that?
Three guesses, and the first two don't count.
Wow. Inchoate, Latin.
Latin.
There we go.
From the 1530s, inchoatus, past participle of inchoare, commence, begin, probably originally, to hitch up.
So this is
From
like,
from the verb meaning strap, as in like fasten to an oxen's yoke. So like at the beginning of the yoke.
mhm. So does this have any parallels to incoherent? Is this like the root of incoherent?
No,
Huh.
different, very, no, different.
Different roots. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Incohate.
No,
I kind of incohate that word.
no. I knew where you were going with it, and
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
don't.
I'm gonna take it. Uh, well, if you enjoyed the very short show today, make sure to subscribe, leave us a review, share with your friends or someone who needs to learn some grammar.
Or
You can also
vocabulary.
or vocabulary or how to talk more better fastly. You can also sign up for Rachel's editing newsletter at rosedeanediting.com. It's ROSEDENE editing.com to get your free 7 steps to line editing checklist.
I'm also offering a free first page edit through my Line Edits in Action series. You can sign up on my website at,
rosedeanediting.com. ROSEDENE editing.com.
and you'll be entered into a weekly drawing for a free line edit of your opening page.
And thank you again to DD Photography for sponsoring today's episode. And join us next week as we dive into style guides.
Okay, so
That's
just a point of clarification for this, because I wasn't really sure what to call it. We're going to go into like the different types of editing styles,
editing
like
style.
Chicago Manual of Style, AP, MLA. We're going to
Okay.
dig into those. What's the difference between them?
Ooh,
Why would you use one over the other?
that's going to be a riveting episode. So tune in
It is,
next
it's
week.
fun.
Okay, tune in next week as we dive into all of that goodness there. Um, and again, did I already say thanks to DD? I did. Well, thank you again to DD Photography for sponsoring today's episode. Remember, words are hard.
We're here to help.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
You going Western again?